Hello again to another Agakala Reacts, and today we're watching what happens when you remove a dam from B1M. Definitive channel for construction. I believe that's how it goes. Alright, let's just jump into it and let's just watch.
Dams are some of the world's most impressive feats of engineering. In the US alone, there are more than 90,000 of them, generating electricity, controlling flooding, and supplying water to their surrounding communities. Like these 4 dams here, sitting on the Klamath River, stretching across the Oregon-California border.
But there's a big dam problem. These structures aren't so great for the river's fish or water quality.
It's kind of like arteries. If you block an artery, you're going to have so many different problems throughout the entire body.
After more than a decade of debate over money, ecology, and salmon, officials called for a drastic move: the demolition of all 4 dams.
This is the largest river restoration and dam removal project that's ever been undertaken.
Now, if you thought that building a dam was tough, wait until you hear about how to take one down.
1? I'm taking about 4, isn't it? Damn.
The Klamath River is known for its stunning scenery and wildlife. It flows for more than 400 kilometers through parts of Oregon and California and drains a basin covering 31,000 square kilometers. At one stage, the river was home to the 3rd largest salmon population on the west coast, providing a vital resource to local indigenous groups. But that all changed when these hydroelectric dams were built in the early 1900s. From around 1895 to 1915, breakthroughs in hydroelectric design led to the construction of many new dams and power plants, like these ones here in Klamath. Today, the dams produce enough energy to power 70,000 homes at their peak, although they aren't usually operating at full capacity because of low water levels and some other issues. And like almost any major infrastructure projects, there's always a trade-off. While these structures have stopped potential flooding, provided tax revenue, and created great spaces for having fun, they've also blocked the fish from reaching their spawning habitats upstream. Because of that, the salmon population has dwindled to less than 10% of its original volume. And that's not the only impact of the dams. During the warmer months, the waters are frequently plagued with toxic blue-green algae blooms, which occur when nutrient-rich water gets trapped in the shallow reservoirs. Environmentalists and local tribal groups have long fought to find a solution, while some homeowners worry that removing the dam will cost them in tax money and lost property values. In the end, Pacificorp, the energy supplier itself, said that removal would be cheaper than the alternative of building fish ladders, and that the electricity the dam generated could easily be replaced. Then in 2022, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission officially authorized the $450 million removal of 4 major dams: Copco Dams 1 and 2, J.C. Boyle Dam, and the Iron Gate Dam. No dam project of this size has ever been torn down before, and it's going to take meticulous planning and construction work to get it right. And of course, it'll be costly. With operating expenses factored in, it would cost an estimated $20 million per year to maintain the dams and address the water quality impact in their current condition. So removing them saves money longer term. That's important because the US government is already facing a debt crisis. Its citizens owe a collective $17 trillion, which is why leading money managers and professional investors are scrambling for safe haven assets. That's where today's video sponsor, Masterworks, comes in. Not only does Masterworks give you access to contemporary art, one of the most exclusive assets on the market, they've done all the legwork for you. Masterworks has sold over $45 million worth of art so far and distributed net proceeds to investors. In fact, each of their sales to date has delivered positive returns. Masterworks is unveiling new offerings on a regular basis to meet demand, so there may be a wait to join the platform's more than 700,000 members. But the B1M subscribers can skip the waitlist by clicking the link in the description. Now, let's get back to the Klamath River. So, as it turns out, there are 2 methods to remove a dam: instantaneous or staged. Instantaneous removal happens quickly, think hours or days. We know, not exactly instantaneous, but pretty quick. Here, a reservoir drawdown takes place, which is a process that involves releasing the water and built-up sediment stored behind the dams downstream. Now, most dams have an emergency drainage system in case the water level needs to be lowered quickly. That usually takes the form of either a low-level conduit, which is basically a channel that can be opened for water to flow through, or a stop log, which is essentially a stack of logs or beams that can be raised to let water through. Once the water is released downstream, the dam itself is demolished with explosives, that's the instantaneous bit, and the rubble is removed from the site. That's the bit that takes a bit longer.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Conversely, staged removal happens over a longer period of time, usually months or even years. This method is reserved for taller dams with larger amounts of built-up sediment that would pose environmental risks if released too quickly. In a staged demolition, rivers are pumped or diverted away from the construction site through tunnels or channels, allowing for more control during the reservoir drawdown and sediment release. Once the rivers are diverted and the basin is dry, the dam is demolished using tools like excavators or explosives, depending on the material. It's this longer staged method that's being used as the basis for the Klamath Dam removals, albeit with some slight variations depending on the size and materials in each dam. Ultimately, this project will return the river to its free-flowing condition. Starting in 2023, Copco No. 2, the smallest of the 4 dams, is going to be the first to be demolished.
We will actually get underway with the drilling of a brand new 10-foot diameter tunnel through the base of the dam from the downstream end toward the upstream face of the dam. We'll stop about 10 to 12 feet short of the upstream face of the dam in the fall of this year. There are a series of box culverts underneath the concrete spillway that have stop logs, thin concrete stop logs at the upstream end of the dam. And when we're ready to initiate the drawdown at boil, we'll simply blast out those stop logs.
Now, unlike the others, Copco No. 2 has no real reservoir, so drawdown isn't going to be necessary. But that is going to have to take place at the other 3. In early 2024, crews are going to open up low-level outlets for the rest of the dams to slowly initiate drawdown of water and sediments at a rate of around 1.5 metres a day. The 3 remaining drawdowns will take place at the same time, taking advantage of the water power to help mobilise and push water and sediment through. The river will then be diverted through new or existing diversion tunnels from the original construction of the dams. That'll cause the channel to dry up so demolition can take place safely. Now, dam removal itself is only part of the equation. Following drawdown, a 2,200 acre footprint is going to remain behind the dams. And that's going to be in need of restoration through native vegetation and the enhancement of habitat before the salmon can return. The scale of this dam removal is unprecedented, and it hasn't come without controversy. There's no doubt the complexities of the demolition and restoration require a huge effort.
I'm pretty sure there was a controversy when they were built as well.
In US history, it doesn't mark the first dam removal. In fact, the project's actually part of a much larger removal trend happening right across the country. In 2022 alone, 20 states tore down 65 dams in an effort to reconnect streams and rivers. Now, to be very clear, we're of course not saying that every dam needs to be torn down. There are many that still provide their intended purpose. But as the decades go by, environmental standards change and unexpected impacts can emerge, and then it's right to re-evaluate the benefits of these structures.
What's happening on the Klamath River shows the power of both construction and deconstruction and how infrastructure can impact millions of people's lives. It'll be some time before we see the impact of this dam removal, but this project shows how construction is continually evolving to our ever-changing world.
This video was sponsored by Masterworks. You can skip their queue at the link in the description. There's also the chance to dive deeper on this and the other topics on our channel over on the World's Best Construction Podcast, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
And as always guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to get more from the definitive video channel for construction, hit that subscribe button.
Video channel, I keep always forgetting this video channel, not this channel. Okay, so what do you think, guys? Is Well, I don't know, like, I've been on Hoover Dam, and I can see that, and I know that all of the dams alongside the Colorado River kind of made it, that Colorado River doesn't go into the ocean anymore, because it just gets less and less water, as it would, which you think, and I think it barely gets to the border with Mexico, any water, I mean, in the river. So that's one thing. And so, yeah, I think demolition of some dams that doesn't really do that they don't meet the purpose of the build. It's needed as well. Like, I keep hearing about all the fact that, let's say, having rivers just being highly managed, like, you know, the concrete what you call them, shores and stuff like that. It's not very good for environment, not very good for anyone, actually. This is all what I have to say. My throat is sore, so I don't want to say too much. And I still have to record today. So, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.